To have a 460 slap Crown Vic, the very first thing you need to do is get a 460. Mine was sourced from this 1983 Ford E350 motorhome, to which I proceeded to cut the frame and cut the window rails and roll it out front. Don't mind me running for a second past the trash pile. Do 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 do. Into here, where she lives. And over into this corner to this come along. And this come along goes straight up to the rafters. Boop! To a 4x4 across two rafters. And so far, as not safe as that is, it has held the 460 and the C6 both completely full. I've owned this car for 3 years now, and I bought it with all the documentation that I'm aware of came with them. I'm sure I'm missing something. I paid $300 for it, and I barely drove it home. It was on 7 cylinders, and I knew nothing about modular motors. Not the first thing. So trying to figure out what was wrong with it, the first thing I did was put a set of plug wires on it. Come to find out, those are kind of expensive at AutoZone for this year, or this setup. But that fixed it. And then I drove it another 60,000 miles completely stock. And then we completely tore it apart. Rear mounted the battery, completely pulled the fender wells out of it, pulled the power steering out of it, pulled the air conditioning out of it, completely stripped the interior. Every bit of weight that we could get out of it. I went to a grooved pulley instead of a smooth pulley and had it running the crank, the water pump, and the alternator, and that was it. And that was fun. You could go out on the interstate and it would hit the speed limiter at 114 miles an hour like you got punched in the face. And it would just drop off like the whole car died. And I got bored with that. The motorhome out back was free, so I yanked the motor out of it, and I decided that I was going to put it in here. First thing I found out is that as low as this motor sits, and as tall as it is, dimensionally, you don't have a whole lot of room for play here. This is like 2 inches, maybe 3 tops. So, I completely cut the stock cross member out of it, and I plated both sides, and I channeled the middle. These mounts, this part is stock 1983 Ford E350 clamshell, and it has a plate. All of the plate metal in this car was done with one plate. It was done with this plate right here that I found on the property somewhere, and it was done with that welder right there. That plate, I bolted to it and welded to it, and then I made a plate that bolted to the motor, and I connected the two with a piece of roll bar tubing, and then I reinforced it with another piece of plate. And it is the exact same on the other side. You cannot go back any further because I'm almost touching right here. I got like a finger and a half. And you can't go up any further because of the C6. The radiator is coming out of a 97 to 04 Ford Mustang 4.6 liter 5-speed manual. For whatever reason, the intake and outlets on that radiator are opposite of what the Crown Vic is, which is what this is, which makes it a pain in the butt to find stuff for. But that's fine. The thermostat housing sitting, I don't know, a whole 4 fingers, if not more, above the radiator causes another issue, which the Mustang radiator solves because it does not have a radiator cap. So here is going to go a inline radiator fill neck. That solves that problem. And then a little line will run over here to my Amarula fill bottle. If you look at videos that I posted earlier, she does not like the choke, so she doesn't have a choke. She has this Edelbrock carb for no other reason than it was given to me, because that one took a poopy. It has an HEI distributor, because that is what I know, that's what I was raised on, and I plan to get an MSD Super HEI kit to solve the fouling above 4,500 RPM. It has a fuel cell, quote unquote, to keep it running so that I can drive it around the yard. The stock Crown Vic shifter has been adapted to run the C6 because they're the 3 speeds without overdrive. This part of the dash needs to be finished, but this used to look like this. I'm going to have a kill switch. I'm going to have the 0 gauge come up through the floor to the kill switch, and then down to the relay, and have a kill switch on the back of the car so that it has dual kill switches. The doors are completely gutted and the windows are held up by 2x4s. It has custom plate work for the dash and for the toggles and for the kill switch. And if I can get back here and get this open, it has a rear mounted battery. And it has a rear-mounted 8-gallon fuel cell that I am working on collecting all of the parts to put together. Has a factory 8.8 axle with a 273 gear ratio that I'm going to put a spool in. And I will be running 235, 75 R15s all the way around, probably on these Explorer wheels. She will be painted olive drab green, and it will say "Major Headache" down the back quarter panel, because this thing has been nothing but a major headache. God bless you guys. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I will do my best to answer them in the next video. Get out there and turn a wrench.